Hello everyone, this is Aleashia Walton, and today I'm going to be going over the technical description assignment. So we have the assignment sheet right here, and at this point you've already chosen your tool and you've gotten some feedback from me. One of the things I like to do for assignments like this as a student myself is I will actually copy and paste some of the details of the assignment into a Word doc or whatever. You can do this with whatever composition program you're using, and fill in the information as I'm going. So the next thing you have to do is pick your audience. There are pros and cons for each of these audiences, of course. Pick one of these, not both, one or the other. And once you've done that, you're going to go down here, and it's kind of like a fill in the blank, so to speak. You're going to first list out the audience analysis. You've chosen your audience. Now I want you to identify the audience and add in any information that you think might be useful. Then you're going to go through and give an introduction. The introduction should be a one-sentence definition of your tool. This definition, and I put this in bold, because you can directly quote this from a textbook definition or a dictionary definition if you'd like. But the majority of this description should be your own words. But this is the one section in which I will allow you to use someone else's words. And as you do this, you should put them in quotation marks and you should cite it as well. So the one sentence definition should be quoted, and then after that, you're going to specify the function the tool performs, how it looks, how it works. You're going to talk about the characteristics of the tool as a whole and include an appropriate visual aid. After that, I'd like you to list all of the major parts of the tool in one sentence, and then in the order you wish to discuss them. After that, you're going to go to section 3, and this is your part-by-part description. Depending on your tool, this could be part by part or step by step. Most people choose to use part by part. The best way to start with parts can be top to bottom. If you need to start bottom to top, that's fine. Just go in an order that makes sense. You can't just move around any which way. You have to keep in mind that as you're writing this audience up here is going to be the one who's reading it and trying to follow along. So you'll list in the part by part description a order of the parts or pieces of the tool you've chosen. You'll list the name, the purpose, and the general appearance of each part. Then you'll write a conclusion in section 4 and explain how all of the parts function together. Finally, I have listed in section 5 that you should cite your sources. You do not have to put this in a section 5. You can just have a works cited. You should cite your sources in text as needed. So for instance, with the one sentence definition of the tool that you're going to be grabbing from another source, it might seem daunting at first. As you move through it, it's really not that bad. So next, I'd like to go over the example document that I have. This is a description of a basketball court. It's a little bit of a rougher draft. It is not actually written by Jessica Fletcher, so I changed the name here. But it's a pretty good paper, and you can download this off of this week's module and take a look at it yourself. For this paper, the student actually had to come up with their own definition. You don't have to go that far, but that's why you're not seeing quotation marks here. But here you see the audience analysis, the introduction. Because the author chose to go over a basketball court for this assignment, she wanted to make sure that she included some great grabs of the court itself. She worked on this one. Both of these are actually she was able to get online where they were already diagrammed out, which is perfectly fine. You do not have to make your own diagram pointing things out, but if you can't find one, you may have to. Doing this allows the audience, who, if you see in her description, is a college student who, and she adds a little bit of detail here, that they're an electronic technician at a co-op, and that they recognize what a basketball court is, but they've not used one. So they don't know what a basketball court, they know what it is, but they don't know the details of it. This actually points it out pretty well and tells you exactly what line is what, and that's the goal. In the part-by-part description, she specifically breaks down the parts. This is one of the more challenging aspects of this assignment, is the part-by-part description. You don't quite realize how many parts, what your tool actually consists of, until you have to sit and break it down into individual parts. And it can be interesting. Notice also, before we move forward, how this document is formatted. This student is using Roman numerals. You can just use 1, 2, 3, 4. It's laid out just by number like this, and that's exactly how I would like to see your document laid out as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. And when we get to 4, she talks about how all of these pieces, or parts, work together. If you scroll down a bit, there is a works cited listed here. She hasn't used it. She could have listed the photo excerpts in there. I'm not necessarily too concerned with that. You will need to cite your definition in text and cite it in the works cited as well as anything else that you refer to. Though, as I mentioned before, the majority of this needs to be in your own words. As a whole, as I've mentioned, the challenging aspects of it really are the part-by-part description section, and choosing the tool seems to be a little bit of a rough spot for some people. Even if you have a complex tool, try to think of it in its most simple ways. If you find that you flat out feel too overwhelmed by the tool that you've chosen, you sit down with it and you have a panic attack, which I really hope you do not have, please pick something more simple and reach out to me and say, hi, I know I chose this, but I think I'd rather go with this. Okay? Just do that. Don't try to work with a tool that you cannot fathom actually working with. From what I can tell, most of you have chosen great tools, but if you need to switch it, it's best to switch it before you get too far into the rough draft. But if you need to, that's okay. Don't get too trapped into these diagrams. Look for a little while, and if you can't find it, make one. Most of you know how to make these. Coming from the backgrounds that everyone in this class comes from, I believe most of you have made these for other courses. So if you have to, you have to. Don't spend too much time searching for them when you could have just made it yourself. I'm fine with simple. The conclusion does not have to be utterly fabulous, but it does have to make a bit of sense. This one could have been a little bit better, but I was happy with it overall, considering the work that went into the assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here. Please, again, if there's anything that you need, let me know. Happy writing.